Welcome back everybody, Sive is here with the ForexPeaceArmy.com. Let's take a look what's going on in the Forex market, in particular in the Euro currency. If you take a look at the Euro on the daily chart of the Euro, you could see that almost nothing's going on, at least in the first glance. But if you will take a look underneath, down in the intraday charts, you could see that a lot of things actually is happening right now, and it makes a bit, well, background to look sophisticated. So performance that we see on the daily at first glance looks like the not bad result, because market is stabilizing around the conference support, and that keeps chances on a possible, at least theoretically, impossible upward action. Overall markets right now are under control of the political factors. Not only Forex, but commodities as well, cryptocurrencies and so on. That's why it's very difficult to make the final conclusion on what really stands behind it, and why actually your currency looks a bit weak in current circumstances. But currently it seems that it's not because of the euro currency valuation and some fundamentals. From that standpoint of view, it looks more or less positive. It definitely goes from outside. It's outside an external driving factor. From that standpoint of view, if you take a look at the intraday chart, here's what the actually source of the complexity. On the market, you could see that forming the triangle, and we do not have any clear strong patterns on the back. So for instance, if on the gold market we have weekly big grabber, we could say, yes, we know the direction, let's trade in this direction. But on the euro currency, we do not have anything of that sort, even on the daily chart. The one thing that we just could rely on is some intraday patterns, some small patterns, and high degree of uncertainty what will happen, because just Donald Trump will tell something about Iran or whatever, markets very fast could turn to the activity. So from that standpoint of view, in the current circumstances, I would search for some particular patterns and clear patterns before taking the position. But at the same time, I wouldn't risk too much with the dealing of them because of the same degree of uncertainty. Here, the situation doesn't look absolutely bearish. So we have the divergence, we have stabilization on around the conference support on the daily chart. Potentially, we could get some grabbers as on the Great British Pound, as on the euro currency in particular. But that's only potential patterns. So maybe they will come in 1-2 sessions. For now, for example, triangle on a fallout time frame chart, it keep door open as for upward reversal, right? In the case of at least some ABCD or even the butterfly pattern, that could later lead us to some bigger pattern, some kind of the double bottom here or something like this, with a divergence on the back. But at the same time, it could become the downside breakout, and here we could get the butterfly to the downside, which led us to complete not only these targets that we have here, but also the OP target that we have here with this ABCD pattern. On the hourly chart, here what we have on the bottom, small hand shorts patterns works nice. So we said yes, to keep an eye on it. If we'll get the grabber, and we've got it here, not even one, probably here as well as another one. But around the bottom was the grabbers, where grabbers was formed, and actually we have some pullback. Yes, it hasn't achieved the target, but once it has been formed, we have this pattern. That's nice, good upward action, although it now is reversing down, by the way. And in the current circumstances, the only pattern that I see for possible trading is this now a bit wider hand and shoulders. Later, it could turn to something bigger, as I said. Maybe you will recognize kind of the cup in the handle or something like this. So it might become the part of some bigger pattern. But for now, for trading for today, the only pattern that I see is a possible hand shoulders here with a relatively deep downstanding right arm around 117.80, because this is 127 hand shoulders, not 1618. This is some compromise between the context, the trading scenario, and the risk. So we do not want to take too much risk in the current circumstances. That's why we need some pattern that could let us to place tight stop. At the same time, we do not have absolutely clear trading setup. By this reason, by the way. And we do not want to take too much risk in the current circumstances. We're ready to make some bet, but it should be reasonable and with a very low risk. And from that standpoint of view, if you would like to make the bet on possible reversal and upper direction here, then that's the pattern that we theoretically could consider, somewhere around 117.80. It will be very small risk, so stops might be placed just below the zeros. Besides, here's the stops also will agree with the invalidation point of the grabbers as well. First moment. Second moment, if market would drop still below this area, definitely it will go out of the triangle, and it increases chances on the further downward continuation. From that standpoint of view, this is some kind of the decisive moment for intraday charts for the short-term performance on the euro currency. Let's stay focused on this scenario, and then we'll see what will happen. Then we decide what to do next. But today I think that this kind of the reverse head and shorts pattern might be considered, and results of this pattern will tell us in what direction market will keep going.